Good morning. Welcome to TERRA at Home. I'm here with Colleen Zimmerman from TERRA. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
And it's nice to see color and spring being right around the corner. We're just...
I've heard it's coming.
Do we believe it? I don't know. This is really hard. This has been a long winter for all of us here in Canada, right across the map. But we're talking about bulbs, and we're talking about pushing from, we're going from spring right through to summer right now.
Exactly, yes. So these are the type of bulbs that most people think of when they think of spring bulbs. Right. These ones at this time of year you can find potted, but you can't find them packaged. These are the ones that you have to plant in the fall, and they need the cold period. But there's tons of bulbs that you can have this summer.
Okay.
So we're just going to get rid of those.
So we're moving that aside, because if you haven't planted those yet, they're not coming up right now unless you take them and jam them in the ground.
You can buy them potted and plant them, however.
Right, there you go. There you go.
There's so many fun things that you can plant this time of year to get a really tropical look in your garden, and what better to think about this time of year than going to the tropics?
Yes, I agree. I agree. So you have some good ideas, and again, that's the first thing we want to see some of that. We want to see that color. We want to see that growth around us in spring.
Yeah, so some of the examples I have here, these are canna lilies, which quite often you see down the medians of roadways and things like that. So you can see these aren't flowering yet, but even without the flowers, you get great texture.
They're really cool.
The variegation in the leaves give you a good color without the flowers, and they grow really fast. That's the nice thing about a lot of the summer bulbs, is that they do have a longer season, and they grow fast in one season, so you get a lot of impact really quickly.
Because we need that as well, because we know, unfortunately, winter is really long. Summer doesn't seem so long.
Exactly.
For some reason, it feels like it's just like a couple of months sometimes. So.
And other things that we can grow as well are calla lilies, and who doesn't love calla lilies? Great for cut flowers. Those are also great for containers, so you can mix those in with your other annuals or perennials or ornamental grasses, and they just look fabulous.
Beautiful. And again, something so beautiful. I mean, the actual flower is gorgeous, but the leaves even have just that little ruffle to them, and just very, very pretty.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And also we have gladiolas, which I've started a few right here, but they come in fabulous colors. Like we have some variegated varieties, such as these ones here.
Wow, look at those.
That are the really clear white and red, both colors, or you can get like deep purples, reds, pinks, yellows, all sorts of shades of those. And those bulbs look like this.
Oh, look like little pumpkins.
So they do come with almost like an onion skin on them. So whenever I plant mine, I take all the onion skin off, just to give them a little extra growing time, so they don't have to fight through it.
Okay, good to
so
know.
it's just peeling it off, and then again, this flat spot on the bottom, so when you plant it, pointy side up, there's a little point there. And these little spots here are where the new sprouts are going to come out for the new plant.
Isn't that great? It's always good to know which way to plant the bulb.
Yes, yep,
Key information.
And most of these types of bulbs, unfortunately, they're not hardy over the winter. So with a little bit of work, they're well worth the effort.
Okay.
So some of them you can start indoors, so you get that early season.
Yes, I was just going to ask you that. Like, people love to do that. Again, it's a good feeling of getting in the dirt a little bit.
Getting dirty,
right?
for sure. And I grow a lot of dahlias myself, like the dinner plate dahlias. So the flowers are literally dinner plate size. Wow. You can get dwarf varieties as well. So when you get your dahlias, I like starting most of mine early, especially the smaller ones, inside in pots, because then that gives you the early blooming time.
Right, right. A little bit of head start.
Yeah, exactly. And then I plant some of them outside directly, so then that gives you even more extended blooming time. And they'll bloom right up until frost.
Oh,
so this is what a dahlia root looks like. I just pulled this one right out of the package. Looks like all the little fingers here. So easy peasy to plant it. You just pop it in the pot. All the fingers side down.
Okay.
So it's just kind of perched in there. And then you just take a little bit of potting soil, nice lightweight soil, so that the roots can grow really, really well.
Oh, okay. That's good, right? So it's not going to suffocate it.
Yeah, and since this has so many fingers, I usually tap it down just a little bit, just to get all the soil underneath those little fingers there. And cover it right up to the top there.
So you're going to cover it right up?
Yeah, and then I usually just leave the stump so I remember where I planted it, so there's something in the pot. I'm not always good at remembering where things are.
It's good.
So this is a smaller one, and then in a few weeks, I've started one early in the greenhouse here. So in a few weeks, then you'll start to see this one here. This is a larger one. I probably had this one for about 2 years. So the fingers on this one actually filled up this pot when I planted it.
Oh, wow.
And this is one of the stems from last year, and again, I usually remove those after it started sprouting. But again, I leave it in there so I remember that there's something in there.
There's something in there? Awesome.
Yeah.
That's good.
So usually for starting indoors, the best ones are dahlias, because they do take a little bit of time to get up to size. Cannas you can start inside, but you don't always have to.
Okay, just because they do grow quickly.
Exactly.
Okay.
And callas usually start inside too. Mine at home, I was going to bring them in, but they're a little stumpy looking.
They?
They just
They're
look
not
like
quite
little
there yet,
sticks, so they didn't look like much to bring in to show you guys. And then gladiolas, I usually direct plant those outside too, because they grow pretty quickly, and they're rather tall as well. So sometimes if they're taller, starting them inside kind of gives them a little bit leggy after a while.
Okay, so when we're talking about all these bulbs that we're about to take outside, the ones that, when, again, can we really do that?
General rule of thumb is the May 24th weekend.
Still is, eh?
Yeah,
Think about
no
that.
frost.
That's a really long time away.
I know.
It's really hard, isn't
But
it?
you can enjoy these
But
inside like
again,
this.
yes.
Yes. And then if these start to get a little bit leggy too, you can pinch them back, and then that'll just help bush them out a little
Push
bit
them out
more
from the bottom. Okay. Okay. All right. So that's good. Those are good tips. Again, these are, again, I was like, I didn't realize you had all these beautiful colors over here.
Yeah, callas come in a ton of varieties.
Oh my gosh, they're gorgeous.
Another thing that you can plant both in fall and in spring are lilies.
Okay.
So like your Asiatic and your Oriental lilies.
Right.
And you can get some really cool varieties of those too, with like double blooms. So they have like tons of petals. This one here is a newer one. It's actually a double
Oh, look at that.
tiger lily.
Oh my gosh. I'm
fabulous.
always amazed by just the varieties. And then, of course, we always have our chats with some of the new stuff and the exciting things that are coming out, you know, for summer, that kind of the top 5, the top 10 of the in the flower world. It just amazes me that we just keep on reinventing flowers and hybrids.
And these ones have been around for years and years, and they kind of fell by the wayside because they do take a little bit of work. So like every fall I dig out all my stuff up and I bring it in, put it in the basement, put it in a nice tray, put a little bit of peat
you're really
moss
good
on
that
it.
way. Some people aren't
Or
so
you
good
can
at that.
just treat them like an annual. Like they're inexpensive too. Like dahlias are inexpensive as a root, so why not start a bunch of them? And they love the heat, they love the sun. All of these are really good
That's
sun
the thing.
lovers.
Sometimes people just, again, every year they just start fresh again, as you say. Just treat them as an annual,
There's
and
so
then
many
you don't have to worry as much about the the back end work because there's life happens, right?
Exactly.
So again, this is really a good time to come into TERRA. And again, there's a lot of you guys are walking around. People can ask questions and get some good tips on, there's a lot of information here, but again, some of it's just really just good basic information. But just to kind of get to the flow of it, get some flowers going, and really it's about experience as well, right?
Yeah,
Try something new. I like that, Ada. Well, thank you for coming again on the show. We always love when you're in. You come and we pull you out of your business doing what you do and give us more information. So I can't wait to talk in the future about some of the cool new stuff that's coming out for summer.
Lots of neat stuff coming.
Can't wait. Thanks, Colleen. Good stuff.
Thanks.
Okay, so go to TERRA, get all this stuff, and get yourself getting into the spring kind of feeling, the mode. That's it for now. We'll come back with more TERRA at home in just a little bit.
TERRA, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Good morning. Welcome to TERRA at Home, and we'll tell you why we are here at 40 Creek in just a little bit, but I wanted to introduce to you Dave Machulis of Natural Landscapes Magazine, and it's kind of funny that we're here in this space. It's a bit of a juxtaposition, but it all works nicely, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Natural Landscapes Magazine and how it came to be for you, because huge successes since you first started.
Yeah, no, it's been a fun journey. It's something that started just for kind of the GTA, kind of letting people know about what's in our own backyards, no pun intended, about designers and landscapers and lifestyle. And it just boomed across Canada. And now we're East Coast to West Coast, writing stories about outdoor living, outdoor lifestyle. And yeah, it's just been an incredible journey.
And that's the neat thing is you were saying, we didn't really have something like that could pertain to the Canadian climate and to all what we need here in Canada, because we have such a limited time. We're outside in our outdoor space. space, in that
Yeah.
backyard space, and so something like that was really we love to be able to grasp onto something like that here locally, but and then it grew. So how do people outside of our area attach themselves to it?
Well, you know what? It was actually a bit of a spoof because, and you're right, we didn't have anything here in Canada. I was inspired to write about Canadian outdoor living, and by just chance, my daughter was helping me deliver the magazine to professional offices in Hamilton, left one at a Starbucks. Starbucks employees put it on the shelf thinking it was after hours. It got pulled off the Chapters bookshelf. It ends up on a Chapters bookshelf.
You're kidding.
I get a call 3 days later that our 3 issues were sold out and they wanted more, but they didn't see us registered with a publishing company. And that's how everything kind of snowballed. I got asked to sign a 3-year deal to publish, and that's the story. That's how we wrote it.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's, you know what, you could try to make that happen,
Yeah.
and it could take a lot longer than that, right? Where
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And so how many years has it been?
This will be our 4th season.
Our 4th season, yeah.
So
Okay.
it's been, it's been a great success, and lots of stories are coming in from all over Canada. More and more participants are getting involved in sharing stories that they feel would be worth to be heard about, written about, and then of course the support of our advertisers is incredible. They're coming together because they're seeing the relationships that we like to build with the reader, with our advertisers, the stories that we're writing. And getting everybody active in social media and through the magazine, and that's why we're here today.
And that's the thing. That's what I love about it. I think it's different, a different approach to the magazine. It's not just sort of face value. There's a lot of depth to it, and stories intertwined, as you said, with advertisers and all of that coming together. Which again here brings us to 40 Creek, and you know, we were here last weekend shooting, and now we're here again. So tell us, like, so what is this, and how did this one turn?
You know what? I came by here and I was speaking to Beth Warner, and she gave me a tour, and I was so inspired by the making, John's passion, John's philosophy on how the whiskey is made.
Yeah, and he's just a cool guy. He's easy going, right?
Well,
easy guy.
and I got brought into the cellar, and I was in awe, and I'm looking around at all these barrels, and I'm thinking, so this is where it's all happening. And then I got to taste it, and that was it for me. I was just like, this is something that I love, and now understanding how it's made, what's behind it. I even got to see the copper pot, so you know where the copper pot whiskey is made.
Right.
And 40 Creek's been a great supporter for our magazine, and we engage in social events with the 40 Creek, and so it just made me feel like coming back to some of the successes of our roots as I write Letter from the Publisher and talk about why I'm here, the passion behind John, and what he believes in for his whiskey, and how it's helped us promote our magazine. And so it's just kind of like bringing it all back in full circle.
Neat. And I love that.
Engaging people and engaging our readers and engaging the advertisers.
And so that's, so we're showing some of some of the viz of of your shoot and what you're going to be doing as well, which of course ties back into your magazine. And I think it's good for a lot of readers, the readers that aren't necessarily close and right here in the Niagara region, as you said, because it stretches,
well,
out
we're
of
even
country.
on our PayPal. We're getting stuff to India and Europe and Quebec, Montreal, down to the States and Boston, California. So the magazine, even though it's Canadian published for Canadians, it's branching out across the world as well. So
it's neat though, right? Because then it helps them understand where you come from and what this is, right? Because again, this is, here we have 40 Creek Whiskey, and obviously they're winning world, national, and global awards as well. And again, it shows that this is where you're from, and this is where the magazine is from. But again, it stretches and spans right out.
It does. Yeah.
Okay. So obviously, shooting today for you guys is kind of fun. So this is interesting because again, we talked about being a natural landscape magazine and sort of the direction where it goes, but the fact that you're here and tying this all in. How do you like doing these sort of kind of productions almost?
I have no agenda, no script. I just fly by the seat of my pants, and everybody. It's to have fun. So the idea is that even one of our writers, Paul LaFrance.
Yes, that's what I talked about him a little
He
bit.
wrote an article, and it was really touching emotionally for him personally.
Okay.
And Paul's grown to be a really great friend. We converse a lot about ideas and what's kind of trending in the outdoor lifestyle world. And so I brought him here today because he loves 40 Creek. And
Yes,
he's
he
a
seemed
great.
like he did. He's trying to steal barrels and put them in the trunk of his car.
That's Paul, and he's a great musician. So we came out here and thought, let's have some fun here at the cellar.
Yes.
And so he's here today, for part of the shoot. But he's got a great article that I think people are really going to be touched by when they read it. And so this is how I work. I just kind of come up with ideas, pull people together, and this is what's happening.
And Canada Blooms show as
Yes.
well. Obviously, you're intertwined in that.
Yeah, well, we like to give back to the community that kind of helped with the success, so we actually give away the magazine during that Canada Blooms week. So although it's sold, across Canada in 92 stores, $6.95 is the cover price, giving back the thanks to the GTA and saying, here's free magazine, you come to Canada Blooms, that's what you're going to get, and enjoy
when's
the
the
read.
show?
I believe it's the dates I don't have exactly. Last year it was 10th to the 25th, so it's a 10-day show
Yeah, that's
in
the
March.
thing. It's a long show.
Yeah.
So it gives people a lot of opportunity, and it's right at that perfect time where everyone is kind of on that edge of needing to get back outside and
Inspired.
feeling the earth and
Yeah.
being inspired again.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, I find our winters are so extremely long.
Yes.
That, and particularly this one,
Yeah.
because it started so early.
Yes.
That really people are just, that kind of show just gives people a.
Yeah, it gives people inspiration. They see new ideas, new trends that are coming out. And this is why I like to follow the show, because I do see some of the new trends, and that's going to appear in my next magazine. So I always try to stay on top to help engage the reader and show them what's out there, what's new, and what's going to be the hottest thing on the market.
Now, how else can people get your magazine other than Canada Bloom Show then?
You can order online, so you go www.naturallandscapemagazine.com. So you can order subscription on there. Usually after 6 months go by, we post the previous issue free, so people can then download it and put them on their iPads if they want. But if you want what's new, what's fresh, you can go hit your chapters or Indigo, go online.
We now know they're there,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
By fluke.
Yeah.
But that's so good. And you know what? Congratulations, because again, it exposes our climate and what we need as Canadians
Yes.
when it comes to landscape and design. So
Yeah. Well, people were always limiting their minds to 4 months in Canada is all I'm going to get. And I show people, let's stretch that to 9 or
Stretch it
10
out.
months.
Yes.
And there's maybe 2 months where you won't. Maybe you will if you have a hot tub or
Sure.
a fire table outside.
Yeah.
But it's really showing the Canadian market about how we can grow beyond that 4 months and stretch our lifestyle out much longer.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dave.
Thanks,
Dave
Leslie.
Vitrulis. All right, we'll be back with more Terra at Home.
TERRA, where color lives.
Heritage Perennials. Look for us in the blue pots.
Good morning. Welcome back to Terra at Home. We are in our Terra kitchen, and we are getting ready for St. Paddy's Day with our chef Iain here today, even though you're Scottish.
Yes,
I am
yes,
half
I am.
too, so
there you go.
that's okay.
All right, fantastic. We've only insulted half our audience. There you go. Good.
Why?
We're
We
gonna
love
make
them all.
we're gonna make an Irish influenced dish.
Okay.
I've got some wonderful lamb. Make a nice stew. I thought about putting a little puff pastry topping
Yes.
on top. Some comfort food. Go from there.
Very good.
Nice cut of lamb. Went to the local supermarket.
I like the idea that you're using lamb. That's-
Lamb. Yeah.
instead of beef, just as
Exactly.
a change, right?
Exactly.
Very good.
So a little bit of flour, a little salt and pepper. I'm going to dust it. That's what's really, really important, because this is what eventually is going to thicken our stew.
Right.
So, again, being a chef, you make lots of mess. I'm going to put it into my pot.
Okay.
And it really is sort of a waiting game. There's a few ingredients, definitely. It's all a matter of being patient. I can tip it towards the camera. Ultimately, you really just want to let it ride out and turn it over and get that caramelization going. But you really need to have some patience. Leave it to its own devices, because the more it caramelizes, the more it breaks down when you're adding your liquids to it, so you have a much tender meat.
And that's key. There's nothing like, sometimes a stew can taste so fantastic and then you're chewing on that same piece of meat for a while. You do not want that. So that's what you need to do, is just be patient with that stage.
So while we're being super patient with this stage, we can talk about some of the vegetables that I've cut. I've also cut them, I've got some potatoes, I've got some carrots, I've got some onions, I've got celery, some mushrooms, some green peas. I'm trying to keep them all relatively the same size.
I've noticed that, yes.
Just again for the cooking purposes.
Okay.
And I've kept them on the smaller side again because I don't want to spend a lot of time. Like again, I can cook them through at a much faster pace when they're done.
Okay.
So for the purposes of our audience, I'm going to start turning things over and starting the process. Because I mean, we only do have 7 minutes of the segment.
Right.
And we'll get through this.
Okay.
So in a perfect world, we've got a wonderful browned lamb. Looks great. We're going to start to add our onions, carrots, and celery. Again, you're going to have to leave a little time. The carrots are a much harder vegetable, so they need time to break down. And again, get some color on them.
I like how perfectly diced these little potatoes are too, and again, that consistency with the, a lot of times you'll see big chunks of potatoes in the stew, but it's really nice, that consistency with the shape.
What I like is when I have my fork or my spoon, I can dig it in, and I have a little bit of everything that can fit actually on the spoon itself. So that's what I'm sort of keeping in mind anyway.
I like
So
that.
I'm going to add in my potatoes for the sake of time,
Okay.
and I'm going to add in my mushrooms.
And ideally, that's the kind of mushrooms you like to use. So you like to use.
You can
It
use
doesn't really matter, but I guess
button mushrooms. I like cremini myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they look nice.
So again, I'll give the camera a nice little shot of what we're looking at.
Okay, that's good. And you're using frozen peas.
Frozen peas. I'm going to wait more towards the end before adding.
Right, because you're still working on cooking up some of those harder vegetables in there, right?
Yep, it's right towards the end. I'll add the peas in. I like it to have a little bit of texture still. So right before that, I'm going to be putting it into our plating and putting in the puff pastry on top. Just about a minute or two before that, I would add my peas.
Okay.
Just so they keep their shape, just so they keep their sort of freshness. Okay. To which I'm going to add some beef broth.
I wasn't sure if at first that was Guinness or not, but then I realized now it's just broth.
I should have added Guinness.
Guinness
You're
would
right.
have been good.
Guinness would have been great. Guinness, red wine.
Could just add that in there at this point, because I love the taste of adding a red wine or Guinness to a stew. There's something about that with the meat; it tastes so good.
Earthy, hearty.
So
absolutely.
where would you add that into this?
Most
stage?
definitely,
Right
that
about
would
now?
be our stage.
Awesome.
You would add it in. Just over time, it would sort of bubble out, and any sort of water content evaporates, and you're left with that earthy flavor. Again, with a red wine as well.
It's rich,
Yeah,
isn't it?
most definitely.
Okay.
I'm going to also add my tomatoes as well.
Okay, no, that's one thing I was saying to you. When I make Irish stew, I don't add tomato, but you do.
I'm a tomato guy. I've always had tomatoes in. Maybe it's just an Iain thing. I'm not sure.
I know. I
That's
think
good.
it is. But that's why you're here. That's why you're our chef of our show.
There you go.
You show us all the other alternatives.
So
I like
ultimately,
It's good for you.
it's a good couple of hours. I'm going to add some rosemary, again, some of that earthy sort of feel to it, and it's a couple of hours.
Okay.
Elapsed time for it to sort of cook down. You
So
occasionally
bring it
stir it.
really like a simmer and just let it
Yep,
just
you bring
do
it
its
down
thing.
to a simmer.
Okay.
You come back into the kitchen every once in a while, give it a stir, and you are left with just a wonderful hearty stew. Everything's brought down. I do have some stew sort of left. I made the day before.
Okay.
And I'm just going to make some room so our viewers can see. And so ultimately,
So this is what it's supposed to look like. Once it's all cooked down, it's going to be this thick and hearty.
yeah, that thick and hearty.
Very good.
Okay.
Okay, and then again, the use of puff pastry, easy to find,
Yeah.
easy to use. You've added
Yeah,
your...
I found the puff pastry in my frozen food section. And yeah,
Very
going
good.
to add my filling.
And I think what's really nice about this idea is because you can make one big one, but you can also, I love the idea of making little individual ones for people,
you can
even smaller ones,
do
right?
a 10-ounce ceramic in it.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, I love that.
It's a
Very,
great
very
idea.
cute. Okay.
So here we go. I'm gonna have some room here.
Pastry.
So we've got our meat filling, our lamb and meat filling, and we're gonna add our puff pastry. Nothing really fancy, just enough to cover and tuck in our edges. And this goes into a 375-degree oven. And what I also like to do is, before I put it into the oven, I'm going to score it with a knife and give it a little bit of egg wash. So it gets that nice brown color to
that's
it.
what you want.
But
Okay.
ultimately, yeah, it's a
Very
nice sort
good.
of rustic dish.
All right, so that's what we're
our
gonna do.
first stage.
Beautiful. Put it in the oven, and we'll come back and we'll show the final product. It's gonna look, oh, so good. You're back.
Terra, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
The Hamilton Spectator. At work, at home, or on the go. Read us online, in print, or download us to your e-reader. Get the Hamilton Spectator any way you want it.
Good morning, welcome back to Terra at Home. I decided to kick Chef Iain out of the kitchen. No, I haven't. He's actually about to bring some really yummy food over from the oven. So we put our yummy Irish shepherd's pie, Irish influenced shepherd's pie in the oven, and it smells really, really good. It's perfect for this time of year. Hearty meal, and of course also great for St. Patrick's Day. So here comes the guy delivering this
Very
one. Look at
kind.
that.
Look at that.
So
Turned out
again, you
really
used that
well.
beautiful puff pastry on top, and you scored it, and now it looks
Just a little crosshatch, a little bit of egg wash, just to finish it off, just to make sure that it gets that nice golden brown. Wonderful, tremendously easy. It just takes an awful lot of time. We talked about whether we want to use red wine or Guinness sort of to add sort of more flavor accents to it.
Yes.
Most definitely. It's an open slate, really.
Well, that's the great thing about stew is, you know, as you were saying, you add tomatoes to it. Some people don't. There are so many different options, different types of vegetables. You can add a lot of different types of root vegetables to
Most
it if you
definitely.
like, and really just make it your own. You can put the peas on the side. Sometimes people will add more peas on the side because they just love to add some color. Salad, perhaps, with it.
Salad
right?
sounds great.
See, again,
Perfect.
me adding the healthy component, but this is relatively good for you.
Relatively good. Absolutely.
Stick to your ribs. Right?
Ribs. Good. Yes. Shepherd's pie for St. Patty's Day.
It's perfect. So, of course, you can find a recipe online on our website at terragreenhouses.com, along with all of our other wonderful recipes that you've come up with. And again, the best part about it is scrolling through, finding all the different components and creating a meal. And you do very fine work, young man. You really do, as much as I like to bug you. All the stuff is really yummy, and this smells so good. Thank you again. You've
Happy
outdone
St.
yourself.
Patty's Day.
Happy St. Patty's Day
Thank
to
you.
all our friends. And even though you're Scottish, it's okay. You can be Irish for a day too.
Thank you,
Right?
Leslie.
Have yourself a great weekend. Make sure you watch us every Saturday morning at 11. It's the one I'm definitely going to try. Thank you, Chef Iain.